Sandy sat close to the fire adjusting to a comfortable purchase before he looked back at the eyes facing him through the bonfire and he began to speak. If we believe the flowing of the Saraswati once again signals the end of Kali Yuga, then we may already be in the presence of Kalki, the mighty warrior and last avatar of Vishnu on earth to rid the world of oppression by unrighteous rulers such as the demon Kali Purusha. Who are they in today's society? How do we know this in such detail? Has it already happened? The 4 yugas needed to form a yuga cycle last 4,320,000 years. The length of each yuga decreases by 1/4, culminating in the Kali Yuga, which lasts for 432,000 years. There are 71 such yuga cycles in one Manvantara. A Manvantara is the age of Manu. Currently we're in the 17th yuga cycle of the current Manvantara, and when Kali Yuga ends, we will begin the next cycle with a Satya Yuga. 1,000 yuga cycles are required to complete a kalpa, one day in the life of Brahma. So has it happened before and will it happen again? You must judge that for yourself. In the Kali Yuga, morality is said to be replaced by depravity and hostility, with humans abandoning their gods. Kali, the demon, will reign during the age of the Kali Yuga and is the nemesis of Kalki, the 10th and final avatar of Vishnu. Can we recognize them today, or are they not yet born? Let's examine Vishnu's 10 avatars and see if they provide us with any clues. Collectively, the avatars of Vishnu are known as Dasavatara. When an individual is faced with a challenge, Vishnu sends an avatar to address the issue. Mind you, it has to be serious. He wouldn't like to waste one of his avatars on just any demon. The myths we know today reference a time when they were most needed during the cosmic cycle, or the stories would never have been written down. The avatars are meant to re-establish Dharma, the path of righteousness according to the Hindu gods. If you're going to be judged by the Hindu gods, it might behoove you to observe what they deem to be correct. The first avatar of Vishnu was Matsya, the fish. The legends associated with Matsya begin very early in Hindu texts in a pre-Vedic universe. The legend follows a small fish with Manu's protection which grows to become a big fish. A fish that saves a man who becomes the progenitor of the race of mankind. The central characters of the legend are Matsya and Manu. The character of Manu is the ancestor king possessing all of the finest qualities and attributes, I'm sure of that. One day, water was brought to Manu for his ablutions. He looked down into the water and there was a tiny fish swimming about. The fish states, as fish of those days did, that it feared being swallowed by a larger fish and he appealed to Manu to protect him. In return, the fish promised to rescue Manu from an impending flood he was aware of. Manu accepts the deal and puts the little fish into a pot of water and feeds it as it grows. When it becomes too big for the pot, Mao prepares a ditch filled with water and moves Matsya there where he can grow more freely. Eventually, when Matsya is big enough to be free from predator danger, Manu takes him to the ocean and releases him to swim freely about. Matsya thanks Manu and reveals to him the timing of the great flood. You must build a ship by that day, one way you can attach it to my horn. Matsya told him. On the predicted day, Manu found Matsya with his boat. The devastating floods came. Manu tied the boat to the horn of the great fish. Matsya carried the boat with Manu aboard to the highest grounds of the Himalayas. The lone survivor, Manu, re-established life by performing austerities and yajnas. The goddess Ida appeared from the sacrifice and together they initiate the race of Manu, the humans. Quite a fellow than Manu, wouldn't you agree? Do the Christians base their version of Noah on Manu? The story is similar to deluge myths in many cultures around the world. In other stories which recount the exploits of Matsya, he slays a demon named Hayagriva who stole the Vedas, making him the survivor of the scriptures. The second avatar of Vishnu was Kurma, the tortoise. In the Yajurveda Kurma, he is the Saptarishi known as Kashyapa, who is associated with the post-Vedic literature, the Puranas. You'll find him in the legend of the churning of the ocean of milk, referred to as the Samudra Manthana. Kashyapa was the most ancient and venerated rishi of the Saptarishis, the 7 ancient sages of the Rigveda. How can Kashyapa be Kurma? I asked. The legends of Kashyapa are wide and varied. Gods and humans lived long lives and reincarnated many times as well. The yugas don't happen overnight, at least that is if you aren't Brahma. Richard interjected, Kashyapa means turtle in Sanskrit. The legend of the churning of the ocean of milk was developed in post-Vedic literature with Kurma as the base of the churning rod which was used to create the elixir of immortality. The story involves other sons of Kashyapa including Garuda, the king of birds and the future mount of Vishnu. The Kashira Sagara or ocean of milk was known to be the 5th ocean from the center of the 7 oceans surrounding the continent known as Krauncha. The Devas and Asuras worked together for 1,000 years to churn the ocean in order to acquire Amrita, which was the elixir of immortal life. The Devas were benevolent supernatural beings while the Asuras were power seekers generally at odds with one another. The event is mentioned in the Samudra Manthana chapter of the Puranas, occurring in a place where Vishnu reclines over his serpent mount Shesha, with Lakshmi. At Vishnu's suggestion, the Devas and Asuras churned the primeval ocean. Churning the ocean was no simple task. To churn the ocean, they used the serpent king, Vasuki, as the churning rope. In addition, they required Mount Mandara as a churning pole placed on the back of Kurma. As the Devas and Asuras churned the ocean, the poison Halahala emerged from its depth and enveloped the universe with its poisonous fumes. The Devas and Asuras had to ask Shiva for his help and he swallowed the poison into his throat. Parvati tried to prevent the poison from spreading to the rest of his body, but the strength of the poison turned Shiva's neck blue, earning him the epithet of the blue-throated one. That wasn't the only treasure or ratnas that emerged from the ocean during the churning. Each one has a story of its own, but those are for another time. I can tell you that the treasures included Kamadhenu, the cow of plenty who provided her owner with whatever they desired. You should remember her from the Ramayana and the feud that developed between sage Vasishtha and the king Vishvamitra. The king asked the sage to part with her for 1,000 ordinary cows, elephants, horses and jewels but was declined. Even Kamadhanu's baby Saburi created mad envy wherever she went. Then came Varuni, the goddess of wine, a sacred baobab tree Parijata, the Apsaras or water nymphs, and the crescent moon. Lord Shiva is often depicted wearing a crescent moon to represent his control over time, creation, and destruction. The waxing and waning of the moon symbolizes the cycles of birth and death as well as the cyclical nature of the universe. Next in line was the poison Halahala, and Dhanvantari, the physician to the Devas. Dhanvantari, and he was holding a cup of Amrita in his hand. Wow, that's a lot of treasures, Geoffrey exclaimed. We're not finished just yet, Geoffrey. Dhanvantari was followed by Lakshmi, the goddess of prosperity whom we all know, then the horse Shaishravas. He was a 7-headed flying horse, the horse of Bali, the king of the Asuras. Then came the gemstone Kaustubha, a divine ruby or ratnam believed to be the most magnificent gem in all creation. The gem was followed by the elephant Airavata. Airavata was a divine elephant and the mount of the god Indra. Airavata himself was the king of elephants characterized by his white color, 4 tusks, and 7 trunks. We'd better not introduce him to Prince Trumpet. Cheesy quipped. Next came the wish-granting tree Kalpavriksha, and finally Vishnu's conch Panchayanya. When the Amrita finally emerged, the Devas and Asuras fought over it. Vishnu, as the enchantress Mohini, sweet-talked the Asuras into allowing him to be the one to distribute the elixir, upon which he offered it only to the Devas. He's always a shit disturber whether he's Krishna or Mohini, Cheesy stated. Svabhanu, an Asura, disguised himself as a Deva in order to partake of the Amrita, but was ratted out by Surya, the sun god, and Chandra, the moon god. They alerted Vishnu, who decapitated Svabhanu after his consumption of the elixir. That left his head and decapitated body both immortal. His head became known as Rahu and the rest became known as Ketu. Which one was his better half? Magda asked. Sandy continued, Kurma is also associated with a Kupara, the world turtle who supports the earth. The third avatar was Varaha or the boar. As with several of Vishnu's early avatars, they are credited to someone else initially. The Ayodhya Kanda book of the Ramayana indicates Varaha was an avatar of Brahma. Brahma appears in the primal universe full of water and takes the form of a boar to lift the earth from the waters. The Puranas transition Varaha from Prajapati Brahma to the avatar of Narayana Vishnu. The Linga Purana and the Kurma Purana record the Daitya Hiranyaksa defeating the gods and entrapping the earth in a subterranean realm. Taking the Varaha form, Vishnu slays the demon by piercing him by his tusks. Later, he uplifts the earth from the netherworld and restores her to her original position. Varaha killed Hiranyaksha and retrieved the earth goddess Bhumi from the cosmic ocean to restore her to her place in the universe. A battle of 1,000 years after which Bhumi became Varaha's consort. The fourth avatar of Vishnu was Nrsimha, who appeared as a man-lion and became a very popular avatar. Apparently Nrsimha appeared in the Satya Yuga where he killed Hiranyakashipu to end religious persecution and calamity on earth while restoring Dharma. It may seem like a lot of gods, but if they've been spread out over 4 million years, perhaps it isn't so many. Nrsimha had 3 eyes, a human torso and lower body topped with a lion face and decked out with claws. Vishnu killed Hiranyaksha's younger brother Hiranyakashipu as Varaha the boar, which resulted in a massive dislike for Vishnu in all his forms. Hiranyakashipu gained a boon from Brahma, which stated he could not be killed during the day or night, inside or outside the house, neither in the sky nor on land nor in Svaga nor in Patala, by any weapon or hand, nor by humans, deities, demons, or animals. Sandy said. That's one massive boon. Marius exclaimed. Indeed, so Hiranyakashipu felt indestructible and began to wreak havoc, persecuting the devotees of Vishnu, including his own son Prahlada. Vishnu, cognizant of the Asura's boon, creatively assumed a mixed form that was neither human nor animal. Nrsimha disemboweled Hiranyakashipu in the evening, which was neither day nor night, at the threshold of his palace, which was neither inside nor outside, upon his lap, which was neither sky nor land, and with his claws, which are neither weapons nor hands. You may also know the story of Prahlada, a story I have told you before. Do you remember the father who had so much trouble killing his son? The fifth avatar was Vamana, or the dwarf. In the Rig Veda, Vamana appeared when the demon king Bali ruled the universe and the gods had lost their powers. Indra, a son of Kashyapa and Aditi, was defeated by the Daitya Bali, king of the Asuras, as well as a great-great-grandson of Kashyapa and Aditi. The Devas asked Vishnu to restore Indra to power, but to do so, Vishnu needed to create Vamana, a son of Kashyapa and Aditi. The devoted Bali conducted ritual sacrifices for the Asuras, but not the Devas. One such ritual was attended by Vamana. The little fella visited the court of Bali to beg him to give him as much land as he could cover in 3 steps so that he could build a fire altar, necessary for all yagnas. Laughing at the little dwarf, Bali decided to grant him his wish even though he knew he was Vishnu's avatar. That's when Vamana assumed the form of a giant, took the whole earth with his first step and the entire middle world with his second step. With the third step, Vamana sent Bali down to rule the underworld. The sixth avatar was Parasurama, who was known as the Angry Man. Shiva advised Vishnu to go and liberate Mother Earth from felons, ill-behaved people, extremists, demons and those blind with pride. Parashurama was born a Chiranjivas or immortal, destined to appear again at the end of the Kali Yuga as the guru of Vishnu's 10th and last incarnation, Kalki. Keep an eye open for him. In his form as Parasurama, Vishnu appeared as a Brahmin who came to the world to kill bad kings and protect humanity from danger. He was a man with an axe on a mission to restore social order corrupted by the arrogant Kshatriya or warrior caste. In that particular birth, he was born to Jamadagni and Renuka. Parasurama was foretold to appear at a time when overwhelming evil prevailed on the earth. Each Kshatriya class, with all their weapons and power, was that evil. They began to abuse their power, take what didn't belong to them by force, and were basic tyrants and ne'er-do-wells. Parashurama corrected the cosmic pendulum by destroying the Kshatriyas 21 times or generations, leaving only those belonging to the lineages of Manu and Ikshvaku. Thank goodness for that, or we wouldn't be telling this story today. Parashurama was married to Dharani, an incarnation of Lakshmi, the wife of Vishnu. The 7th avatar was Rama, or the perfect man. The Ramayana is a story we all know well. It's the story of Lord Rama as the leading man in the ancient epic told by sage Valmiki. Rama was sent by the gods to do battle with the multi-headed demon Ravana, made bad by a boon given to him by Brahma. Ravana kidnapped Rama's wife Sita, and Rama needed his posse of brothers, Hanuman, Prince Vibhishana and so many other heroes of that time to save her, only so she could be sacrificed in a fire later on. If you don't know the story, come and visit me in the day. I'm staying in Sir Malcolm's hut and will be sipping lemonades under the shade tree. I would be happy to tell you about the Ramayana or the Mahabharata. The 8th avatar of Vishnu was Lord Krishna, known as the Divine Statesman. Another avatar whose story you will be abundantly familiar with from the Mahabharata. Krishna is reputed by many as a supreme god in his own right, the god of protection, compassion, tenderness, and love. His story transcends the Mahabharata, the Bhagavata Purana, the Brahma Vaivarta Purana, and the Bhagavad Gita, where they portray him as a godchild, a prankster, a model lover, a divine hero, and the universal supreme being. The earliest text of Krishna, as a personality in his own right, was the Mahabharata, where he appears as the charioteer. The Bhagavad Gita contains the long-winded advice of Krishna to Arjuna on the battlefield. Many of the Puranas tell Krishna's life story, with the Bhagavata Purana and the Vishnu Purana, containing the most elaborate telling of Krishna's story. The 9th avatar of Vishnu was Balarama, who was considered to be Krishna's elder brother and by some, the last Buddha. Balarama was the son of Vasudeva. The evil king Kamsa, tyrant of Mathura, was intent upon killing the children of his cousin, Devaki. A prophecy stated he would die at the hands of her 8th child. Kamsa murdered the first 6 children of the imprisoned Devaki by smashing the newborns against a stone floor. Hence the name Evil King. When Balarama was conceived, Vishnu intervened and transferred his embryo into the womb of Rohini, Vasudeva's first wife, making him the elder brother of Krishna with his foster parents Nanda and his wife, Yashoda. One day, Nanda requested the presence of sage Gargamuni to name the newborns Krishna and Balarama. Garga reminded Nanda that Kamsa was keeping his eyes and ears open for the son of Devaki. An opulent ceremony would certainly come to his attention, so the ceremony was held in secret. In the Kurukshetra war, Balarama taught both Duryodhana of the Kauravas and Bhima of the Pandavas the art of war with a mace, but when war broke out he remained neutral and left on a pilgrimage with his nephew Pradyumna and other Yadavas for the duration of the war. They returned only on the last day to watch the fight between his two disciples. When Bhima defeated Duryodhana by striking him in the thigh with his mace, a traditional violation of the rules of combat, Balarama threatened to kill Bhima. Krishna reminded Balarama of Bhima's vow to kill Duryodhana by crushing the thigh he had exposed to Bhima's wife, Draupadi. The 10th and final avatar will be Kalki, the mighty warrior who will appear riding a white horse and carrying a fiery sword. He will be advised by his sage Parasurama. The 10 avatars of Vishnu, collectively known as Dasavatara, each appear in different forms to address specific challenges and re-establish Dharma during different periods in history. The demon of the Kali Yuga, Kali Purusha, is supposedly a ruler of a violent and corrupt society. He is considered the embodiment of evil and the origin of all evil. At the end of the Kali Yuga, Kalki will appear to destroy the wicked and usher in a new age. Kalki will ride a white horse, carrying a naked sword, and will blaze like a comet. Or perhaps a bolt of lightning.